to take a risk with that. And I think of a movie with Clint Eastwood. Has anyone ever seen the movie called Trans Am? It's a very good movie with Clint Eastwood in which he befriends a Vietnamese immigrant, and he teaches him some conversations.
Gran Torino.
Oh, Gran Torino. I'm sorry. Anyway, what he tells him is you need to learn to talk dirty to other guys, and that will create a bond. Well, that was a little unusual, but a good tip. Nowadays, with all the computers and Kakao Talk and all this, people are actually losing their conversation skills, and a lot of people would rather text than talk. And probably a lot of you would rather text to somebody than call them on the phone. Why?
Money.
Yes.
What? Money.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper, okay, but that's not the only reason. Because you have a little bit more time to think, and it's more, what?
Photos as well. It's different. You can impress people with all your kind of.
No, I agree with this idea of the ability to think before you respond.
Yeah, and it's not as threatening. There's not as much going on. And actually, especially with kids, young kids, teenagers, they're losing their ability to have conversations. It's something that psychologists have been talking about.
But as long as I keep sending nude photos of Stuart.
Yeah, that'll be good. I, on the other hand, come from a small town, and where I'm from, people talk to strangers. We look at strangers even on the street, and I'm used to talking to strangers, and I bring that to Seoul. So I'm talking to strangers all the time. I talk to strangers on the subway, and believe it or not, on the subway in Seoul, I have met a Nobel Prize winner, and I met an Olympic gold medalist.
On the subway. On
the subway, among other people. You never know who is going to be sitting next to you. Now, we're going to talk about different levels of conversation. And the first level that we're going to talk about is called just small talk. Small talk is, we all know about small talk. And small talk, you're usually talking about yourself, the other person, or something that's going on around you. This is not threatening. It could be, current events. It could be the weather. It's very non-threatening. And you're also sizing the other person up and seeing if you want to continue the conversation. Are they normal? Are they friendly? Are they nice? And you're going to see if you want to continue. The second level is called fact disclosure. And this also is not too personal. You may say some things like what you do, I'm a teacher, I'm from the US. Just kind of fill in the stereotype with the other person. Hobbies, and you can discover things that you might have in common with the other person. The next level is called viewpoints and opinion. This is getting a little deeper. So you might say, yes, I am an Obama supporter, or something like that, and it's a little riskier. Now the thing about these different levels is you have to work through them. You don't jump right into it like, hi, how are you? I love Obama, I hate Romney. That would be a little bit shocking. And sometimes people do that, and it causes a problem. And the last level is called personal or feelings. And in this level, you are actually talking about problems that you might have. And you wouldn't just introduce, hi, I'm Frank, and my dog died yesterday. And really sad. You wouldn't want to do that. You have to go right through the levels. So
do you think this is the same in meeting someone new for the first time and approaching someone new for the first time romantically? Do you think you need to work through those stages for both situations?
Yeah, all situations you should go through the levels.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. That's your problem.
He starts out by sending nude photos of himself.
Yeah. You gotta work
I would
up
probably
to
do
that.
the other way around for meeting someone romantically. I'd probably try and shock them first. If they've been approached by a number of different people.
Do you have a girlfriend?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Good. Whatever works for you. Okay, well, I want to talk a little bit about how to meet strangers. And one important thing about meeting strangers is your point of view. You have to have this point of view that everybody is interesting. Everybody has something to offer. Everyone has had experiences, and you want to find that out. And you also have something that other people are interested in. If you just look at, oh, it's boring, everyone's boring, then you don't have the right attitude. You want to discover what is interesting about other people and something you can learn. And another thing you can do to be a more interesting person is to read, you know, current events, read new and interesting things, so you have things to talk about. And this reminds me of my mother, who used to work in a very high level with the black community in my hometown. She worked with all these black guys, people, and every morning they would have coffee and breakfast, and they would talk about sports, football, baseball, and she didn't know, you know, she would just sit there, and then she got smart, and she started not only reading the sports page at night, but memorizing. And then she would come in and, you know, they'd say, "Did you see that game?" And she knew everything about it, and suddenly she could take part in that. So informing yourself is one part. Now, where you meet someone is also important. Meeting someone in this club, it's easy. I could go up to anyone in this club and say, you know, how did you get interested in the club? This is a sheltered, very easy environment. How did you find out about Toastmasters? Okay, that's easy. But how do you meet somebody on the street? How do you meet someone in the subway or, you know, in a restaurant? That's a little more difficult, and most people wouldn't do that. So what are some ways to do to meet people that you would like to meet on the street? Or what if you're traveling and you go to a new city and you want to meet someone? You don't have to be alone. There are techniques. And the first thing I want to tell you is just the idea of an opener. Now, what is an opener? An opener is just something you say to break the ice. And the trick about the opener is that you just use it and then you forget it. So if I want to meet, what's your name? Paul. If I want to meet Paul and we're standing in the subway, I could just ask him any question like, "Is this the right train to Itaewon?" And he might say, "Yeah, it is." Okay, well actually the ice has been broken. I can forget it, and then I can just, "Oh, okay, thanks. Are you a student?" I can go in and start asking him some questions. If I just walked up to him and said, "Are you a student?" it would be a lot different. So this little opener, even if it's a stupid question like that, it actually can serve to break the ice. And there are other things you can say. I've seen people who are wearing a similar jacket, and then you can just, "Hey, I have the same jacket," and that can break the ice. Or anytime I see a musician, I just go up to them. "Oh, what do you play?" "I play." That's breaking the ice. Also, if I see anyone reading a book in English, I'll usually talk to them. Like, "Oh, you can read English. How did you learn English?" And start talking. So, there are a lot of ways. And even if you look at someone on the subway, I've had times when I'm just looking around and someone looks at me and I look at them, and after a second I'll say, "Hi," or smile, and they'll smile back, and I've met people that way. So it's a bit of a risk. Sometimes people will think you're weird and, slap you. Not really, but, it is a way to meet people. Another thing to know is that you want to learn how to ask different kinds of questions, like open-ended questions. For example, Steve, I could say, are you working in business?
Yes.
Okay, that's the end of the conversation. Open-ended. But open-ended, what kind of work do you do?
And it saves in this.
Okay. Then it's a little more open. So trying to get away, if you're trying to start a conversation, from this yes or no question and make it into an open-ended question. Okay, well that's the information part. We're going to do a role play, and Angela has agreed to help me with the role play. You look shocked. And what I would like to have a situation.
This is part of the role play.
Give me a location. Where are we? We're strangers, and give me a location, anybody.
Hooker Hills.
Hooker Hill. Okay.
Sorry, Angela.
I'm looking for this bar, the Rocky Mountain Bar. Do you know where that is? Have you heard of the Rocky Mountain Bar?
I think it may be up the hill, but I'm not sure. Sorry.
Okay. So you don't come to Itaewon much?
Not to Itaewon often. However, I'm not a person who actually spends a lot of time on this street.
Okay. What are you doing here now?
Meeting my friend.
Okay. Well, that's I want to ask you. I'm looking for a cool bar to hang out. Do you have a favorite bar that you go to in Itaewon? you could recommend?
I would say there's a few down the road a little bit, which are outside of all the craziness of Itaewon.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily Itaewon proper, but
Okay.
down the road.
Can you give me one?
Craftworks, Moxa, they're outside of the craziness of
Okay.
Itaewon.
What
Yeah.
kind of bar is the Craftwork?
Craftworks is a little more laid back.
Okay.
It's got more of like a foamy kind of sports vibe.
Uh-huh.
Moxa's a little bit more contentious.
Okay, are you into
Beer versus martinis.
Okay, okay. Are you into sports? What
I
kind
love
of-
sports.
Really? What
Yeah.
kind of sports do you like?
I am a huge baseball fan.
Really?
Mhm.
Wow, me too.
Really? What's
Yeah.
your favorite team?
Well, Cleveland Indians, that's where I grew
I'm
up.
very sorry.
Oh, okay, you don't like Cleveland? We can still be friends.
I don't
Tonsil
know.
Okay, what team do you like?
Hmm?
What team do you like?
You're Yankees, hello?
Oh, well, Yankees are great. You know the musical, Damn Yankees? Have you ever
No,
heard?
I don't.
You don't? Oh, that's a great, great musical. So, what happened to the Yankees this year?
They did a little better than the Cleveland Indians did.
Yeah, you're right. Who's your favorite Yankee player?
Andy Pettit.
Andy Pettit. Why do you like him?
Because he's a fantastic pitcher, he's incredibly talented, and he's well-rounded, not just an athlete.
Okay,
Medically
well,
he says as well.
listen, how about when your friend comes, we all three of us go over to the bar and, talk about baseball. What do you think? All right, good. Sounds great. Don't forget to get her number.